Hello guys, can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Okay. So I can see your comments, so you can see me. Great. Just when we have started, now it's working. Now WebEx is working, and now all of this is working. We lost crucial time. I wanted to finish this before Maghrib. I wanted to start this at 6, but it wasn't working. So I had to create this group, and sorry for that, for this delay. I don't know. I think it's not working for you guys as well. So let's just wait a couple of minutes for everybody to join and also for the azan, and then we can start. We'll try to finish as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's start. Uh, we discussed advertising strategies last time, and we discussed the different ways that we can advertise using different frequencies in advertising, fight and flight strategies, and we discussed the pulsing strategy, and we discussed the continuous strategy. We discussed how they are different and when to apply what, how it relates to the what you call the nature of the product, the situation, the your core competencies, all of that. So we discussed that last time, and even if you have not discussed, if you have not seen that video, I suggest that you do so. I'll yeah, hopefully I'll be putting it up on you this video on YouTube as well. So I'll put a link here, and you can then see it, see that video later on as well. That was about advertising strategies. I don't think there were any questions, but if there are, then you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll start our today's lecture, which is about PR strategies and publicity strategies. Now, what is PR? If you have taken the course of PR, which Hassan Aftab Saab teaches at Maju. If you have taken that course, then you must already know what it is about. And if you have not, then we should talk about it a bit. Even if you have, you can put your comments on the site so that others can benefit from that. So, what is firstly, what is PR? Public relations. And there is another word that I use, which is publicity. Now, PR and publicity are two different things, and they are not the same as advertising, not at all. Now, we've discussed the advertising, that it is the first party perspective. When in the communication model, there is a sender and there is a receiver, and then there is a medium, and then there is a message. And the first party that sends the message is the advertiser, and who is advertising, and the other one is the customer who is on the receiving end. But when the customer talks about the product, it is called word of mouth. So word of mouth is the second party perspective, quite strong as compared to advertising, but it doesn't reach the masses as advertising does. So then we have another party perspective, which is the medium, which is in between. This is the third party perspective, which is called publicity. Now, often we see that people say that people usually use the word publicity instead of advertising. They say that a certain restaurant has just opened and they have done a lot of publicity. And when they are saying that, they usually mean that they have printed a lot of flyers and they have put their name on a billboard, and maybe even have a with television commercial, or they have some banners on the digital media, on websites or YouTube. So these are all ways of advertising. None of this is publicity or PR. So the question is then, what is PR and publicity? How do we differentiate between them? So one simple way to differentiate is that when I am saying that I am talking about myself, then it means that I am advertising. If any brand, any company is talking about itself, it says, I am good, you should do this, you should buy this product, that's advertising. Instead of that, if somebody else is talking about you, then that is publicity or word of mouth. If that someone else is a customer, then that's word of mouth. If that someone else is a medium, then that is publicity. So I'll try to share my screen with you. Can I do that? Why not? Doesn't say I can, which I should be. Mm, okay. Okay. What I'll do is that, yeah, it's a good way. I'll just show the link. Somehow it's not opening up. So what I'll do is that I'll copy and paste the pictures that I want to show you. So here you go. I don't know, somehow not giving you that. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, so you can see this picture. Yeah, that's good. You can open this up, and then we can talk about it. So we were talking about what PR, public relations, or publicity is. So publicity uses media to communicate about a certain product or company or a brand, but how it does so is different from advertising because it does so by very in a very subtle way. It doesn't talk about the thing in such a way that you attribute the motivation of selling the product with that medium. For example, if somebody says that there is a certain a burger that is very good at KFC. Now, KFC advertises it as a great burger. That's advertising. If we use word of mouth, then which is there is a variation of word of mouth which is called paid word of mouth. And paid of word of mouth means that we put up word of mouth. We pay people to share the images of a burger at KFC that they just had, and they share this in their social circle so it reaches a large audience. That's paid word of mouth. But when we use the medium, but for example, one medium can be the internet, and the medium that has the that governs the flow of information on the internet are, for example, some websites, some newspaper websites, blogs, and things like that. So when you ask a blogger to write about this burger at KFC, then that blogger is talking about it as a medium, or there is some news about that, how KFC has launched a new burger. So when there is a news about a new product, then people are more likely to actually see it as see it as genuinely good, as compared to the advertisement of KFC saying that it's a good burger. So the power of publicity is that you get to communicate about a thing without seeming to be on their side. So, being the medium, you are trusted more than the advertiser itself. Hence, the medium has more power to influence people. That's why publicity is there. So, publicity is used to talk about things in this way. Publicity can be used in across all media. It can be used in television, like for example, it's called a VNR, video news release, that is very common in these in television news channels. What they do is that they make small pieces of reports on anything considered as a news, and then they actually make use of they show that product in that report. For example, there is a person who says that I am here making a report on the food streets in Karachi, and what actually that reporter is doing is that that reporter is showing a certain restaurant at the back of in the background, while he's talking about how great these food streets are. That's one way of doing publicity. So or it can actually mention that restaurant and saying that this is a restaurant I went to, and it was great, and this has just opened up, so that's news. So video news release can be done, blogs are written, articles, and all of these are ways to do this. um, then we have um, what we call PR, public relation. Now, PR is a bit different from publicity because PR has a very generic definition, while publicity has a very, very specific definition that it is the third party perspective. While PR, on the other hand, has a very generic description that it only what it aims to do is to build an image of a brand or a company. Build an image. Now, building an image can mean that PR can be done across any media. It can do anything, and it can make use of any media or any person or anything to build the image of a company. So the PR is different. Now, when we say PR, we are saying public and relations. Now, public does not mean here that public means everybody. Uh, Public means in specifically in the world of PR, publics means the word means that certain groups of people. Now, when we say certain groups of people, for example, it can be broadly categorized in intern as internal publics or external publics. When we say internal publics, it means the people who are internal to your organization or inside your span of control. Then they are the internal publics. For example, the customers or the employees, or some certain suppliers can be included, your distributors. They are quite inside your organization, in your span of control, while the external publics are who are not really in your control. They can be your competitors, your substitutes, the government. They can be some kind of union. All of these are external publics. Now, why are we studying this? The question is, why are we studying? We are talking about PR because uh, when we are making strategies for in the long run for our marketing, we need to know how to build an image about our company, image that carries a certain persona. It answers certain questions about our company. It makes an overall impression. For example, if I ask you what kind of a company is Unilever, so you will say that it's an MNC, it is an FMCG company, it is a paymaster. Usually people in Unilever get high pays. They are they they have a variety of products, so they have many jobs, and they advertise a lot. They have since they have different products, and almost and all of them are FMCG, so they advertise a lot. They are associated with many events that come because they sponsor these kinds of events like festivals, and so all of these perceptions are built on the basis of whatever you have interacted with on in Unilever. So it's just like that. If I ask you about another company, let's say um, Geo News. So Geo News is another company, and you would, if I ask you about the image, you would most of you would say that it is one of the pioneers in news in Pakistan. It actually was a trendsetter for a very long time, and you would probably even mention certain political affiliations with the news channel. You would also remember the people who are involved in it, the anchors or the journalists or the reporters that appear on the news channel. So the people there, or the content, the type of content they produce, which means the products and the services, and their affiliations, all of this is included in the image. Now it's very important that we have a very clear vision of what we want in the long run for our company. If we know what we want, then we can devise strategies to actually. Okay. Yeah. um, devise strategies to build the image that we want. Now it happens a lot that a certain company wants to build a certain image, but what happens is not in their control, because many of the things are not in their control. A mistake done by a distributor may have an impact in a something in the quality of the product, and that may ruin your image. A bad idea by an advertising agency may ruin your image. All of these things are outside or a bit outside your control, and they might end up hurting your image. So it's very important that we have this. Also, if we don't have any plan, then our image is changing all the time, which means we are not clear what we actually want the our publics to think about us. So often this happens that we want to be seen as a big brand with a luxurious, a showy kind of brand, a premium value brand, and then we go for these consumer promotions all the time. So what happens is that in the mind of the consumer, they think of this as a contradiction, because if it's a premium brand, it will not go for consumer promotions, not all the time at least. And therefore the image will be in conflict, and whenever there is a conflict, then people are not willing to go ahead and try that thing. So conflicting image is probably worse than a bad image, because even if it's a bad image, people are still sure that the person or the company is bad. But if they don't really know if that person is good or bad, it's worse, because not knowing is even worse than knowing that something is bad. So conflicting image has to be managed by making sure that we have what is called an IMC. Now what's IMC? IMC means integrated marketing communications. Integrated marketing communication is what? Integrated marketing communication is when we have a single minded focus in whatever we are saying, no matter which media are we using, no matter what format of message it is. Which means that if the message is in visuals, if the message is in text, if the message is in sound, all of it should be the same thing, even if the format is different. So when we have a continued effort to have this a same kind of image, then we can say that we have strategized. Now the question is how to do that. How do we strategize where to go? So one way to do it is to first look around and see your competitors, and then choose a certain persona in the long run. How would you like your customers to see your company or your brand? For example, if there is a brand, um, any brand, let's take Dettol. So Dettol is the kind of a brand that is very functional in nature. The main objective of Dettol is to have an antiseptic liquid formula for cleaning or any kind of thing. So if we are talking about Dettol, then Dettol needs to be a brand that is respected, a brand that people feel comfortable with, because they will want to have Dettol all the time in their home. Easy to use, easy to interact with. All of the things should be, and what cannot be the part of this is what cannot be the part of this is, for example, humor. Humor cannot be a part of Dettol's image, that Dettol's persona, because it wouldn't match with what it delivers. Similarly, what would humor go with? Humor will probably go with something that is not entirely dependent on the functionality of the product, but rather it has an experience. For example, a telecom brand like Ufone had the persona of a humor brand for a very long time, and it worked for them because all the others were quite serious in nature. Even if you look today, then Telenor is very much focused on the youth. They always show the youth. Jazz is more focused on the corporate, or the very sophisticated persona, or basically they want to be seen as the cream of the crop. Um, while Zong is very very focused on saying that it's a you can say the awam kind of a brand. It's for everybody. It's not for the high ups only, and all of that. So it carries a persona of its own. Now, when we look around and see our competitors, then um we can think about it, that if is it a good idea to go with a humor kind of image? Is it a good idea to go for sophisticated, or for classy, or for any of those things? So we should have a clear persona in our mind, that in the 5 years or 10 years we are going to build this kind of image, and we have to be very consistent in that. Our advertising campaigns, our promotional campaigns, even our pricing strategies should be aligned with whatever we are making as an image for our brand. So what we do is that we look around and see our publics and how we deal with them. So let's take another example. For example, there is a company called Smile Industries. So Smile Industries is a company that sells biscuits, that sells candies, and that sells snacks. Uh, Now, Smile Industries, what it is you can see how it works. Now, if I ask you to imagine that there is a brand called Candyland. Now, Candyland has these candies called, for example, Funty, and it has these chocolates, for example, Sonnet, and now these are chocolates by Candyland. If I say that, would you like to have chips, those crinkle chips by Candyland, or would you like to have chocolate biscuits by Candyland? So you will probably say no to this. You will not be comfortable. You will find it weird to have yeah, you will probably find it weird to have biscuits from Candyland, or especially chips from Candyland, because it's very sweet and confectionery, and the other product is saltish. So, and the target markets are different as well. It's Candyland is more for children, while chips are for both adults and children. In fact, more for adults than children. So, so what to do about this? Should Candyland build an image of a brand that is for children, or should it be a more generic kind of brand that carries the persona of both the children and the adults? So the solution for Smile Industries is that it made three different brands. One of these brands is known as Candyland, which makes sweets and candies and chocolates. The other one is called Bisconi, and you know it as making chocolate biscuits like Chocolato and Right biscuit, and other biscuits are made by Bisconi, and another brand of there, which is you can say these are the sub brands of Ismail Industry, and then we have brands under these brands in an umbrella. So the third one is called the Snack City, and Snack City has, I think, Curly's. So these are all different brands under the umbrella of three brands, which is under Smile Industries. So Smile Industries never actually tried to build the image of Smile Industries in the eyes of the general public. Instead, it only focused on building three different brands in the eyes of the general products, so that they have a good image and a different image of all these brands. They will not have a conflict in their mind that this chocolate making or biscuit making company is making chips. So it's a very clear and good strategy in the long run to have three different brand names under which you can have many products, but they are very different in their persona, in their target markets, in their, you can say, the publics that they are targeting. So it works like that. If we take another example, let's take a different type of industry. Let's take a university. So if I am marketing a university, then I need to be very, very clear in the long run what kind of image I want to project. For example, uh, there are certain universities that have different image. For example, when we're talking about general or business schools, then we can see, for example, IBA has a reputation of having uh, a heritage. It has it usually makes the cream of the managers that are out there, and many people who are in good positions in the industry are from IBA. But that's mainly because it has a long history. It has been there for more than 50 years. So this kind of This kind of heritage is the persona of IBA. On the other hand, LUMS, for example, is more about corporate leaders, um, but that's not the persona that you would think of when you are thinking of Zabist or CBM or Iqra or Majum. For example, Iqra has this image of having a lot of students. It takes everybody in. Similarly, you would think of Zabist and you would have a certain image in your mind. You would think about Bahria and you would think about the kind of students there will be, and you will think about how what their affiliations will be. So you will think about all of these things when you will be thinking about the reputation or the brand image of the university. And the brand image of the university is only you can say the sum of all the activities, the policies, the advertising messages, affiliations, achievements by the university and by the management. Whenever we make an achievement, if we say we are the number one university by HEC, then we are projecting a certain image that we are concerned with being number one. While another university says that we are producing um, uh, graduates that get employed very quickly. So they are more focused on the output rather than the input. Some other universities might be just focusing on the kind of faculty that they have. They say that we are the kind of university who has the most PhDs or the largest research output. These are very different images, and whichever image you carry in the long run, that will actually shape the target market that you will receive. If I am saying that I am very much focused on research, then most probably the target market, the groups, the publics that will be attracted will be the research groups, which means the MS and the PhDs will be very interested in coming to Maju or any university who claims about research. So, for example, we claim about employment, then or we talk about uh, certain sectors that we are targeting. For example, there is a university called Barrett Hodgson University, and that is famous for basically pharma, because it's already a pharma. It makes pharmaceutical products. So if you are going there, and even if you are enrolled in BBA, then people might be thinking that you have a better chance of entering the pharma industry if you have graduated from Barrett Hodgson University. So that's the kind of image that we can project with our policies and whatever activities we have and whatever advertising messages we are crafting. So when we are doing that, when we also need to see that. So if you have opened that picture that I've sent you, then you can see that it says that your organization is in the center, and then you have employees and customers, the general public, government, shareholders, competitors, suppliers, and media. So you have all these publics that are associated with you. They are concerned with you. So they are your publics or your stakeholders. Now, when you are creating an image for these stakeholders, you need to understand that if you are if you have good relations with the media, then they will project a good picture of you. If you have good relations with your employees, they will do your work, even if you it's not just about the financial relation with the employee, but they will join you with all their heart and they will work as a team. your customers who are bonded to you by the quality of the product or service or the honesty of your service rather than the price that you have put up or the image that you have in the eyes of your competitors. If they trust you enough to go for a for a co-branding or are they at your throat because of your behavior towards them. You are always looking for an ad war or a price war or a PR war. So that kind of image is what you want to select. So the first thing is that you shape the image, and that image should consist of a persona, which means human characteristics. That's number one. And then number two, that image should have a certain a feel or some keywords associated. For example, I talked about the university, then PhD is a keyword, research output is a keyword, employment is a keyword. There should be some keywords that are building your image. Or in the sense of, for example, the Smile Industries, their image is based on the quality of the product or the target market or how or where they are consumed. So you can say their keywords can be quality product, daily use product, daily consumption, kids, sweet, um, um, tasty, delicious. These words are would go along well with the image of Smile Industries. So these are that's number two. And then we have number three, which means that we identify our all our publics and we have a strategy to have them on our side. For example, how will customers be on our side in building our image? What can we share with them? How can we motivate them to talk about us? How will we motivate our employees to be a personification of our company? Even giving a t-shirt for free to the employee who that person is going to wear whenever he's going out will mean that that employee is has started projecting your image as a good company. How you deal with competitors, how you deal with suppliers, how we deal with government, all of those strategies should be separate. So you should have a separate strategy for every single public out there. So the first thing is to build a persona, an overall persona. The second is to have five keywords that describe you. The third is to then mold these keywords and persona differently for all these different publics that you see. And then at the last, then you need to have some KPIs, which means key performance indicators. These key performance indicators actually, the purpose of these indicators is to monitor the progress of whatever you are doing. So if you have um, made a decision to build a certain image in the eyes of the people, and you go and ask and have a survey of what people think about you, then you know what they think right now. But then you ask them again after 1 year and see how you have progressed. So the progress has to be measured in some terms, and those terms are called KPIs, key performance indicators. So when these key performance indicators can be, for example, a customer base, it can be the loyalty of a customer, it can be how customers have upgraded with your plans or how you have basically upsold your products and services to them. KPIs can be financial as well. For example, how has the company improved in terms of the shareholder value of the market stock market price? This can be one kind of a KPI. It can be your international image. It can be your awards that you have won related to better marketing, better products, better service. It can be anything. So all of these are key performance indicators that you have to have. You have to make sure that you write them down, and then you make objectives for each KPI. For example, we need to have a customer retention of 35% up from 25% in 1 year. So our objective is to have more customer loyalty. We are going to try to keep our customers rather than try to build new customers. So that's the strategy that you derived from your publics and your overall PR strategy. Then you can identify how you will do it. Then, do you need to advertise? Do you need to hire a celebrity? Do you need to arrange an event for that? All of these things are the PR plans that you can use for that. So that's how you design this PR strategy. So the first one again is to build a persona. The second is to have 5 keywords describing you. The third is to mold it for different publics, and the last one is to have proper KPIs for all of these different strategies. Once you've done that, then you need to know what medium you will be using and what will be your policies of making use of those media. Will you be using mainstream more or digital more? Because that will impact your publics and how those publics see you. Because for example, if there is a 40-year-old person who looks at a certain news on the television, and or looks at the same news in a website, that person may not have the same perception. That person may have the sense or the credibility in the mind, credibility of the news in the mind of that person will be different for different medium. So you have to choose the right medium. You have to design an overall plan, that basically a guideline for you or for the people next to you, who come after you in the company, that this is how it is supposed to be done. We have to push our messages, our stimuli on the mainstream medium using television extensively. 60% of our budget should go with that. Then 20% should go for digital, and 20% should go for newspaper and magazines and outdoor. So this type of strategy helps the marketing manager to identify that they have to choose the right medium and the right KPIs, uh, to so that their progress can be monitored. So once you do that, then you are able to build a proper PR strategy. That's how it is done. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give you an assignment to make a PR strategy for any company. You be sure to watch this video when I upload it on YouTube. If you have not watched it already, if you're not here live, then you can watch it there on YouTube, and then you can attempt the assignment. The assignment will be related to making a simple PR strategy for a certain company. I'll give you some clues and some guidelines to go with it, but the rest you have to come up yourself. Now, don't think that this is a very long assignment and you have to come up with a 10-page uh, report on this, or it's not so small that you just write one word that we are going to build a good persona, and that's it. It's not going to work both ways. You have to be very clear, and you have to be short. In For example, you might take 2 to 3 pages in Microsoft Word. If you are making a PPT, that's your choice. There is no restriction on the kind of software you use to answer it. You can use Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or anything else for that matter. And then you just the point is that you should be able to design a certain PR strategy, starting from the persona, then the keywords, and then your the strategies for different publics, and then lastly your KPIs. So you have to mention these four things in your PR strategy. This is an individual assignment, so you have to do it individually and then submit on time. I'm going to give you at least a couple of weeks to do this so that you have ample time to do it. But be sure to do it on time. Don't start at the last moment. Try to do this as much as early as you can, so that you can tell me and we can discuss anything if you have a problem with anything. So if you have any questions about the assignment, you can ask. I will probably maybe post a quiz related to the things that we have been talking about on advertising or PR, maybe, but an assignment for sure. So if you have anything to ask, you can just type it here and I can then answer you. Otherwise, I'm going to just wrap it up for today, and I'll post some other videos along the throughout the week. So keep viewing those, and then we can meet next week. Hopefully, next week will probably be Ramzan, so obviously we will not be meeting at this time. So let's do this. Let's have it from 5:30 or 5. How is 5? 5 is good. I think 5 is good. 5 to 6 would be good. So even if we have some problems, we can still finish it up by 6:15, so that we can make arrangements for our iftar and all. The assignment will be related to today's lecture, which means to make a PR strategy for a certain company. I will give you some details about the company, or I can just give you a new company to work for, and you can devise a PR strategy for it. What kind of publics, what kind of persona you want to build, what are the keywords that should be associated with that persona, what will be the different publics, and how you will design the strategy for different publics, and the lastly the KPIs that you will use to monitor your progress in this PR strategy. 3 to 6 is QRM class. Obviously that 3 to 6 will also be pushed back because of the Ramzan. So you have to tell the teacher of QRM that our class from 6 to 9 is shifting 1 hour before schedule. So that, because obviously I cannot have it after iftar, so the other teacher has to change it a bit. Any other questions? So no questions. Let's wrap it up for today. I'm going to end this, and then I'm going to share the assignment with you maybe today, maybe in the morning tomorrow, but just have a look out for it. This will be up on YouTube, so you can watch it and then go for the assignment. Okay, so see you guys next week in Ramzan. Ramzan Mubarak in advance, because we'll be meeting in Ramzan now. Yeah, and be sure to like our department page, Department of Marketing, because you'll see a lot of activity there. And I'm going to share something on Google Classroom, so be sure to see that, because there is a certain task that is there for you. I'm going to post it in a while, in about an hour's time. Be sure to check Google Classroom. Yeah, attendance is no problem. Don't worry about it. Okay, and see you guys next week. Allah Hafiz.